My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Because in my view, when I heard it, I'm like, man, I see these white people flipping it like, what can we get these niggas? Reparations, da, da, da. What's that shit?
Like, that's exactly what it did. What's that cookout thing they do?
Yeah, shit. I was in,
Ferg,
we was in Texas last.
How they look that reparations up?
And I can see somebody like a Ted Cruz. We can always give him reparations.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I'm your boy Razi, and if you know, I usually don't start the show, so once again, Ferg's out. Being a great mentor, father figure, whatever you want to call it, with the Lamplighters. She's taking them on a trip to see some HBCUs, and they're having a great time. But with everything that's going on in the world today, Roe v. Wade being overturned, those types of things, we didn't want to rush the episode and try to get it out to you guys. So we really wanted to take a chance, or have a chance to really dissect and dive into it. So we'll be doing that next week. And what we did is we looked back at some past episodes, and we had a really good episode that we really wanted to bring you guys. I know for the Inspire You folks that's listening, shout out to Inspire You on air, the new beat of the Bay. You guys, this is going to be your first time listening to this episode, so I know you guys are going to really, really enjoy it. It was great content. It was one of our favorite episodes, so sit back, relax, enjoy that. Oh, and before I go, I just want to say, if you guys get a chance, go check out Controversial AF on YouTube. I did a guest appearance on that podcast. We did a very, very good conversation on dating after a failed relationship. So everybody go over, check them out, see how those conversations go. You get to see my beautiful face, if nothing else. So check those out. But with that being said, everybody enjoy. Let's jump into the show.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Flex Master Flex, Buff, Bagwell, Lil Evil, the man that walks around daily with a financial tank top on, flexing his muscles. And then we got Razi.
That's definitely the other way around. We've had this conversation.
That's exactly it. No, that's it.
Times.
You just walk around with, you know how you just like walk, that dude, they just walk around with the tank top, flexing for no reason? Byron does that financially.
Mm-hmm.
You have a financial tank top, sir.
No.
Yeah. So no, but I mean, just a little stuff like the watches and things like that. Like, you know what to buy to make sure that, you know, that is just a little flexy. But because I can't remember who said it, but they were like, you know, I got a phone to tell time. My watch tells my status.
I did hear that.
That's true.
I did hear that.
That is true.
But listen, Razi, I am surprised that you were even talking about watches after that flex move you pulled. What was that, about a year ago? Half a year ago, Ferg?
About 6 months ago, yeah.
So I can't even believe you going there with the watches, bro, because you're like King Flex.
So you're talking about the time that you bought the watch, and Razi's like, oh, I like that, and bought it too?
Yes.
After you bought the watch?
After you bought the watch? I'm a follower. Like, I'm a follower, Buff.
Man, well,
so even in your off flex, you're flexing.
But here,
so it's not like a, you know.
See, this is what I want the listeners to know. The difference is, okay, just background story. I wanted to go to south of France for my 40th birthday, but COVID happened. So, you know, I was like, I'm going to splurge on myself. So I bought myself some gifts. And one of those gifts were 2 watches. Okay, 40th birthday. Razi just bought it because it was a Tuesday. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference.
It was a good deal, though. It was a good deal. I got it on sale, buff.
So many flexes in this one story. So I wanted to go to the south of France.
It was 40th birthday.
No, that's like me trying to go to Paris, Texas.
I went to the Blue Flame.
Yeah.
You talking about I want to go to south of France. I went to the Blue Flame.
Oh, ain't no telling what you would have done if everything was open and clear. There's no telling what you would have done, bro. You've been in Greece somewhere. That picture that everybody posts with the restaurant next to the water.
I will not go to Santorini.
Oh, no.
I will not go to Santorini now. It is on my banned list. I cannot go to Santorini because everybody's
You want to take a flowing dress?
If I do go, I'm taking a flowing dress picture.
Because you're gender fluid, right?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. But nah, bro. Nice watch, nice gift to yourself. You got to treat yourself. If you don't, nobody else will. Well, I can't even say that because let's talk about that robe you got.
Okay, so this is like the buff hour. Okay, let's go. Go. What you got?
I'm just saying, bro. That was just a nice robe.
Is it soft? Is it soft as it looks? That's my question.
It was just a bathrobe. It was a black bathrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about that robe that
with some golden, very intricate, square kind of things that rhymes with Versace.
I feel like you. I feel like it doesn't rhyme with it. I think you just said the name.
That Versace you had.
That was a gift. Very nice gift.
I'm just saying, bro.
I'm very grateful for it.
But, that's good. That's a good, bro. Today is about Juneteenth, and we talk about inclusivity a lot and not judging people. And I just realized I'm not there yet. I was, I think I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, one of the days I was going to get something to eat for the family. And I went to a restaurant to pick up our food, and there was an old black lady with a white Trump Keep America Great hat. Keep America Great Again hat. Boy. You remember the last episode when I was saying Sky was just staring at that the transgender female? I found myself doing the same thing to this old black lady. I was in such awe because she's in a black run establishment, like it's nothing but black. And I'm just sitting there like I had that head tilt. I'm just sitting there looking at her, and I couldn't stop staring. She might as well have had a dick on her forehead, fellas. Well, I guess she kind of did, really, right? But I just couldn't get past it. I'm like, how? With everything going on, how? It's 2021. Election's gone. It's over. Juneteenth is this weekend. How do you have this Keep America Great Again hat on? Like, I was just...
Bro, Trump got what, 16% of the black vote?
I didn't think they shopped at the same places I shopped at.
They don't all view him as racist, and some black people actually don't put racism at the top of their gripe list. Like, to them, as long as he's seemingly great for the economy and great for business and tough on crime, then, if he...
Anti-abortion, especially if they're, in that evangelical...
Which he's not even really anti-abortion, for real. But...
Oh, she's a black Christian, enough said.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
Which is a whole nother conversation. Because we had some interesting dialogue this week via the Blue Book.
Oh, you gonna go there, huh?
Nah, I'm just gonna say it's very interesting. So I'm not gonna go there. I spent enough time talking today, but to the old black lady, if you happen to come across this podcast, take that shit off your head, lady. But anything else, fellas? All righty, let's jump into it. Razi, what do you have for us? Do you have a good joke for us today?
I think so. I mean, no, it's not a good joke. It's really not even a joke. So, you guys know the G20 just finished up. Everybody's talking about Biden and Putin and everything, and you know, body language and all of that. But I don't know if y'all saw that Finland is actually closing all their borders. And I don't know if y'all know what that means, but like that means nobody's gonna be able to cross the finish line.
I like where it was going. I'm like, okay, he's setting this up. He's using current events. Shout out to Miss Hickson for current events.
Not bad. Man, not bad. You gotta give him a little credit. That was pretty good.
Yeah, setup was there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was,
you know what? Yeah, it's you're getting better. You're getting better. You know.
See, I got to make sure y'all don't know when it's coming. Like that's the thing. You gotta slip the actual punchline in there.
All right. Do you fellas want to jump it off, or do you want me to take it over? Or what do you want to do?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I have a question that I was gonna say for next week, but by it being Juneteenth, it's like I have to ask it today. Right? On the Razi Turns 40 Part 1 and 2, my question was based off a post, and so is this one. And the post goes as follows. The Black Agenda. The Asians don't have to march, pray, or beg to get a bill passed. Let that sink in. My question to you guys is very simple, because we hear this a lot. What is the Black Agenda? And for bonus points, how do we go about getting it passed or implemented?
Post a lot on Facebook. Talk down on every last advancement we do get. Don't vote. Let's see, what else? What is it? What else
is that? The Black Agenda, or is that how we get it passed? Because I'm kind of confused on which one it is now.
I don't know, bro. Like it's man. I don't think there's a Black Agenda. That I don't know if that's an issue or not. Well, I say that, but I do think there's a Black Agenda. I think the Black Agenda right now is trying to hold on to what we have, because it's one of those things that you can want the lofty goals and reparations and all of that. Right now, we're struggling to hold on to voting rights. Mm-hmm. Like, so I think right now the Black Agenda is hold the line. And that's what a lot of people don't want to hear. Everybody wants to keep saying, oh, let's advance. You know, Biden's not doing anything. Kamala's not going to do anything, even though they don't have like the most basic understanding of civics and how government works. The executive branch can't do anything. You need the legislative branch to do it. So it takes Congress to do this stuff, a literal act of Congress to do these things. And we don't have the votes. We don't have the votes in the Senate to pretty much do anything because of the filibuster.
50-50.
So it's 50-50. And you need 60 votes to advance most things in the Senate. So just to let you guys know. So right now, the agenda is, we talked about HB1. I think that is or should be the Black Agenda right now. HB1 should be the Black Agenda. Getting pre-clearance back, maintaining our right to vote, maintaining what we have, and then past that, I think then we can start thinking through reparations. And I don't know what everybody else wants. Like that's my question. Is what do you want after that? Like other than saying we're going to give straight reparations and having like HB1 where we know there's equity in voting and what the government provides. I don't know what else they would want from it. So I'll defer to Ferg, Byron. Like what would you guys do? So the agenda, and then we can come back around to how we get it passed.
The agenda is there's no agenda because it's a moving target. If they would ask you this question last year, Razi, your answer would be completely different. Mm-hmm. And so that's the beauty of it. Not for us, but for everybody else. It's a moving target, and there's not one agenda. And and the thing about it, I don't know if any social group or oppressed group has this is what all Hispanics want. But in our world, there is a Black agenda. Like it's this infamous Black agenda that they make a scary thing. Like they have white people scared of this black agenda. It's like, we don't know the black agenda. Don't be scared. Like there's nothing to be scared of because we don't even know what it is. And like you said, if best case scenario right now, we're just trying to keep our head above water. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? We're just trying to get back to where we were a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago. Like we're just trying to make up for lost time, all the things we lost in the last few years. You know, it's I don't think there's one thing. If there were things that you were talking about HB1, I think there is political reform, but also just I think the legal reform, like our justice systems,
criminal justice reform.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, I just want to. One of my biggest things as a black man in America, a black husband, and black fathers, is I want to feel safe that I'm not gonna die or be accused of some horrible crime or something just random happens to me. Like stuff happens, life happens, but it's like I don't want to be taken out by a police officer for mistaken identity. Police officer having a bad day. Like it sounds like, come on guys, you're overacting. That's real life for a lot of us. Like that's something that I should not have to worry about in my life. Think about that. When you think about something that simple, that should not be a worry or a concern in someone's life. That somebody sworn to protect and serve them is out to possibly kill them. If something happens, if I commit a crime, am I going to get a fair trial? If I'm convicted of a crime, is it going to be fair? Like there's so many things. I have a son, I have a daughter. If they are, you know, how safe are they? Are they safe if something happens to them? Are they safe in our justice system? Education-wise, I mean, we talked about this, you know, several times about, you know, funding black schools, building up our communities. You know, how much better do our kids have to be to compete in this world? And that, you know, are they getting a fair share? Or do they have, not just our kids, do we have access to the resources to make us competitive? Because when I look at it a lot of times, just talk about competing against other nations. You know, can the American youth and American people, education system compete against other nations? The question is, are our kids equipped to compete against the people here? Luckily, our kids are going to go to good schools, but what about the other kid that doesn't get that shot? I think it's just basic civil liberties. I mean, I just feel like it shouldn't be this hard to be. We're just asking to be treated fair and just. We're not asking reparations. Reparations still is a stretch to me. I would love reparations. I think but I can see how somebody could say, well, you know, we didn't have slaves. It's not our fault. Why are we paying the price? I know all the reasons why, but it's like, okay, in your mind, you have a legit argument. But to say that my child shouldn't be able to have a fair share at education, that if my child commits a crime, the same crime as your child, that they should be looked at the same in the judicial system. If a police officer unjustly kills my kid or myself, that there should be a fair trial and they should serve justice for their crime. Like, we're just asking to be treated like human beings. We're asking to be treated the same way you would want to be treated. That's it.
We should make the criminal justice system like the Masked Singer. Like, you come to court and you got to have a mask on and nobody knows your gender or anything like that, and they gotta try the case like that, and then like at the end they unmask you and be like, boom, I'm black and I'm only doing 7 months. Boom. Yeah,
but what's so crazy is, but they the dog whistles. They're gonna talk about, you know, the broken home, and they're going to, oh yeah, they'll lead up to all the stuff, the supporting facts around the case. They gonna know. They gonna find out. Now, the three of us might be able to get away with it, like when they start rattling off our facts and stuff like that. Yeah, but that 17-year-old that had petty larceny.
Yeah, but at the same time, that white kid that had those same, because that's the problem is those kids that are similarly situated sits there and they're a white kid, so they get that presumption of innocence, whereas our kid gets that presumption of guilt. When you have, hey, I can't look at it, that white kid's gonna get that presumption of guilt because it's his third strike. He's been doing it since he was whatever. He's from a broken home, has a single parent, lives on this side of town. There's a lot of white kids like that too, that when they get in court though, they dress up and they look like the kids on the other side of the track, and people start identifying with that. So that's why I say that blind piece of it, justice can really be blind when you can do that, because they've got all kind of studies about like hiring practices and things like that. When you take off the name or whatever, you start to see more equitable hiring and things like that. If you take out the name, you take out the name so that they can't say, Shaquan or whatever, and start automatically identifying as a black person. Take out the name, take out the look, and really go by the facts of the case. And that jury has to go by the facts of the case on it. Then you really do, set it up where justice is blind. But I totally derailed from the black agenda, because that is nowhere near on the black agenda.
But what's so crazy, it's just like, we're not asking for anything special.
But that's the problem, though. The problem is, because we're just asking for equity, there's not going to be anything that's targeted at black people. And so you hear a lot of hoteps like, oh, Obama didn't do anything for us. The Democrats don't do anything for us. And mainly they say that because they don't understand that the laws that they pass and the things that they do disproportionately affect black people positively. So when you start doing these equities, when you start bringing this child credit thing that came out of the COVID relief package, that helped black people like 3-1 for white people. But black people still are saying, oh, they didn't do anything for us. Like that, you have to really get down into these things, because there's not anything that says, oh, this is specifically for black people. What it is that we know black people are affected by this thing. White people are gonna benefit too, yes, but black people are gonna be benefit from it more, and they pass it.
So I think there's two parts to it. There's rights and things that help us get ahead, but I think that what separates the quote unquote black agenda is there's certain protections that we need. Everybody should be treated equal under the visor of the law, but we all know that if you fit this description, that the chances are the conviction rate, the time served, like the penalties, disproportionately unfavorable for black Americans. And it's like, we just need protections. We're just saying, hey, get us out of jail, don't convict us. But hey, we need protections. We need protections from over-policing. We need protection from subprime lenders and, stop screwing us over. Like that's even a start. It's just like, hey, don't beat us. Like, just stop beating us and killing us and, treating us unfairly. We're not even asking just like to... It's so crazy because when I hear people talk about reparations, like, to me, that's a far extreme. Just because it's like, we can't even get them to stop killing us and you want them to pay us? It's like...
Truthfully, they'll probably pay us before they stop killing us.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy is because it's like... Side note, for one, just for the record, we did not ask for Juneteenth. It was one, we really didn't ask for. I know there's one lady.
Don't worry, I'll lead on. That's my question. So we don't worry about that. We're gonna go down that rabbit hole. Right.
Buff, what say ye?
The black agenda is equality. Unfortunately, equality is such a broad thing. You and Razi touched on all the different aspects: housing, school, college, justice. All of that is included, and we have studies that show, like Razi mentioned, you take the black name off, and they've been admitted to colleges more. or they've gotten a job more. Hell, we saw a recent example. I think it was a mixed married couple. When they had pictures of them both, the house went for one price. But then when the white man just had pictures of himself, it was some astronomical higher value in what the house was going to sell for. Time and time again, like we have so many examples, we exhausted at pointing at them. Like every time there's a shooting of an unarmed black man, we get tired of saying Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, George Floyd. Like we're exhausted at saying that stuff because it happens so often, and it's so many different examples to point to. Ferg, you mentioned reparations is extreme. It is extreme, but it shouldn't be, because I know white people, their counter argument is like, why should I have to pay for something that I have nothing to do with? Oh, but you do. You guys benefit from slavery to this day. There are businesses that may not have participated in slavery whatsoever, but they still benefited from the labor. There are like direct ties to certain banks, certain insurance companies that started thanks to slavery and thanks to the free labor that they were able to benefit from. So yeah, there are plenty of white people that didn't own not one slave and still benefited from slavery. And that's something that we need to say more and more often. But, you know, the Black agenda is equality because, you know, in law enforcement, I've seen studies where police officers, we heard, I forgot the guy that killed Mike Brown, but, you know, he said Mike Brown had arms like Hulk Hogan and was super strong. Like they view us as such a higher threat than our white counterparts that's what make us more likely to get shot down in the streets, because we're seen as a bigger threat. You've seen videos where white people are getting like dragging a police officer on his pickup truck, and he was able to walk away free. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there are so many examples, and that's what we're asking for. We're asking for equality. Unfortunately, it's so many different parts to it that we never get like the starting point. But we need to demand, a starting point in a certain, maybe we can start with the schools, then go to the justice system, then go to jobs. But we need a starting point. And to answer the second part of the question, how do we get there?
Hold on, before you go there, I just want to make sure that it's known that I'm not saying, when I say reparations is far-fetched or whatever.
No, it is though.
What I say it because coming from their mindset, because their argument is like, I'm not responsible. So I could see how somebody could push back and say, I shouldn't have to pay for this. But I can't see how you could justify like, hey, I think there's a possibility of me being killed by the police, and that's a problem. Well, that's part of life. Get over it. Like, I'm not responsible. Like, you can't justify that my kids can't get a job or this because of the color of their skin. Like, you can't justify certain things like that.
You know what it is, Ferg?
They don't believe it, though. It is. That's the problem. They don't believe that it's real because they look at it from their worldview and their lens. And since they don't see it in themselves, that there's an issue, they don't believe that there's an issue to us. They a lot of them truly believe that equity and equality is real.
But the thing about it is, if I have to think that, if you don't have to daily wake up or have certain thought process in your mind, that's how you know it doesn't exist. When you don't fear the police, then there's a certain level of trust. Even if my fear is unjustified, it's a fear. Why do I have that fear? Like, you don't have that fear for a reason. My fear, if you consider it justified or not, is real. Like, it's in my life. So if you don't agree with it, it's still there. So why is it there? I want to wake up and be able to not fear the police. I want to wake up and not fear. I want to have the same freedoms, mental freedoms, that the average white man has.
Unfortunately, we've been thrown in a fight against an opponent with loaded gloves, who's had 2.5 months of training, and it's like 5 weight classes above ours. And we've been thrown in there with 2 days of training and no trainer whatsoever. And we're expecting a fair fight. And that's what we're in. And you're never gonna get that. I did want to touch on how we get there. It's funny to me because Razi mentioned the hotels, and a lot of their stances are, voting doesn't matter, right? And we see, time and time again, they've shown us that voting does matter when they try to strip away our rights. The money that we see into suppressing the vote. But I just find it hilarious. The same people who say voting doesn't matter also want to point out how the Asians got their protection bill passed. You know how they got that passed? Through politicians. Because they don't tell their people not to vote. They be out there voting. You know who helped push that? The senator from Illinois. I can't think of her name. Oh, Duckworth. Senator Duckworth helped pass that. An elected official. So while you out here telling your people not to vote, but then complaining about how we not getting anything done and comparing us to other communities don't tell their people not to vote. They get out there, they get it done, then they hold their politicians accountable. Now, if you want to say, I think one of you guys said, Democrats don't do anything for black people. Now, if you want to say, hey, we need to start holding Democrats more accountable, we need to start making sure we get what we want out of these politicians. That's an argument I'm willing to sign up for. When you tell us not to vote, laws get passed by politicians who are voted in office.
Yeah. And don't with this whole, I'm going to do a new party, because you don't have the weight to do anything with a new party. You don't have a weight with a third party. You don't have the weight to go out and do anything. Now, if you want to, or flip to a Republican, maybe the Republicans will do anything, because that's a snowball chance in hell to get anything done for us on the Republican side. So what you do is you say, just like the Republicans do it, and even some Democrats, right? We're going to primary you. We're going to put somebody up against you that's actually going to come up and be on our agenda. That's what you do. If you think you're so big and bad and you know everything, why don't you run? You think you can win and you can make change and you can get us some reparations. You go up there to Capitol Hill and see what you can do. Try your hand at it. I want to see you go up there and make some things happen. Because it's not easy to go in there and form a coalition. It's not easy to go in there 1 of 100 and think you're going to make some changes. You ain't the big dog. And as a freshman senator or a congressperson.
Not only that, the committees are controlled by the two parties. So even if you go in there with your little independent party, you notice Bernie Sanders is an independent. Angus King is an independent, but they caucus with the Democrats. Because that's the only way you can get on the committee. And the committees are important because that's how certain bills come to the floor to even be voted on in the first place. That's how Supreme Court justices are determined on whether or not they're going to make it out of the Judiciary Committee and be voted on to be a new justice in the Supreme Court. So if you're in this, hey, I'm part of the Purple Party now, I'm part of the Liberation Party now, okay, you can be that, but you're not going to have any say-so whatsoever on anything important.
Nah. Biden and Kamala need to just make it happen. I voted for them. They got my vote, so they just need to make it happen.
Yeah, you're stupid. I'm tired of beating around the bush with it. Like, stop talking about stuff you don't know about.
Like, but Biden's supposed to fix it all.
Yeah, and Obama was supposed to fix it all, and every politician that gets in there, and truthfully, they go in with the highest of intentions, and they want to do everything they can. But again, when I talk about 1 of 100, one of how many Congress seats is it? Congressional seats?
435.
Somewhere around, like 400. 1 of 400. Like, think about that. You're 1 of 400. That's trying to go in there with no power, no committee seat. You don't run anything. You can't decide what's going to come for a vote. Even if you do write a bill, that doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere.
So why?
And for the folks that's like, we're a year in now, all that. All right, well, shut up, because you get what you get.
Well, that's why I don't vote then.
When my kids were in preschool, the preschool teacher told them, you get what you get, you don't pitch a fit. That's my thing. I don't want to hear it. If you don't vote, you don't get a say in what's happening.
And listen, before the naysayers go there, in no way are we saying voting is the cure-all. That's not the only thing. I'm saying we still have to do the action. We still have to fight for the change we want. But voting is a big part of it. Like, if you want certain bills passed, voting is a big part of it.
Yeah, so voting is a big part of it, but there's 2-year gaps between voting. Y'all need to do stuff during there. Like, what are you doing collectively? What are we doing individually to help?
Are you going to the town halls and saying, why did you vote on this bill? Are you paying attention to what they're voting on and what they're not voting on? Are you going to all the civic organizations that's happening? Do you know what they're spending their money on and their time on? Are you volunteering? Are you spending time in the neighborhood? Because too often a lot of people that's on Facebook making their posts, Buff, that post was perfect, Buff. By the way, thanks, that you just put. Like, too often you go to Facebook and you think your little 100 likes on your comment is something, but you ain't put one community service hour in. You ain't invested no money back into the communities. You ain't donated nothing, donated time. I mean, and I ain't talking about your once a year annual cleaning of your house, going down to the Salvation Army to put some stuff in. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hours and hours and hours that the three of us put in on things that's outside of our regular job to help our communities. And you want to sit there and make your little Facebook post or down folks that's really out there trying to do it. I mean, talking about politicians, I hate it because the thing is, there's some dirty politicians, but there's some folks that's out there really working to try to make this thing better.
Yeah. And let's not put it all on politics. There's other things you can do. Like, if you want education better, what are you doing? You know, are you mentoring? Are you doing anything? Do you want to see neighborhood beautifications? Are you sitting on those committees? Or what are you doing to help? That's always, you know, my question to people. What are you doing to help? Yeah. But that's the thing. And what's crazy is that's how so many, especially the hoteps and people, they shut people up. It's like, well, what are you doing to help? And it's like, most people can't, like, well, I ain't doing shit, so you got me there. And so you just do something. Find your niche, find what you're passionate about, and find a way to make it impactful.
That's more than lip service. Yes. Talking about it ain't. And because that's when you talk about the hoteps, that's usually what the hoteps are doing. They talking about it. They talking about it over and over and over again to each other, making YouTube and TikTok posts, and they're sharing it with each other. But like I said again, they don't put an ounce of actual time into doing anything.
And you know, last thing on this, because the post Razi was talking about, I didn't mention it, but I was referring to Juneteenth, and I've seen people complain and say, you know, we didn't ask for this. We you know, y'all out here happy for no reason. They just giving us crumbs, you know, just completely criticizing it. It's fine to say that, hey, this isn't the end all. We still have a lot more work to do. But people fought to get this passed. People wanted this day. And if the goal is, because I've seen over many years now, the gripe, they don't teach about Juneteenth. They don't teach about Tulsa. Okay, making this a national holiday, kind of,
they have to teach about it.
You have to, even if they don't teach about it, you have to at least talk about it. Juneteenth. What is Juneteenth? Why are you off? Oh, well, Juneteenth is this. You know what I mean? So it at least brings about the conversation more and brings about more awareness to a day that I've seen people complain about, nobody talks about. So that's all I got, man. That's all I got. We spent a long time on my question, so that's it.
What you got for us? What you got for us, Razi? Or you want to jump into that? He's segueing.
Is Juneteenth enough? Yeah, that definitely was my question that I wanted to come, because that same thing has come up. A couple people have sent me posts and videos about, you know, it's not enough, and I've seen a lot of even my friends that are saying it's not enough, and you know, we didn't ask for it and everything like that. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it, because I have some really strong thoughts about it, and I wanted to tell the listeners about it. So I'm being selfish.
It's kind of like a straw man. Like several months ago when Dr. Seuss came out and said, "Hey, we're going to discontinue this book, that book, and that book right there." I saw one person say, you know, y'all worried about Dr. Seuss when I'm not easily distracted like that. We got bigger battles to fight than what's in Dr. Seuss, but y'all happy about that. I'm like, nobody, and I mean nobody, was fighting to get Dr. Seuss books canceled. You know what I mean? And I think, as one of you guys pointed out on that episode when we talked about it, there are books that nobody had even really heard about. When you think Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, and a couple other ones, these books that they canceled, nobody even knew they exist. They literally could have canceled these books and not even put out a statement, and nobody would have known. Nobody asked for this. Dr. Seuss decided this on their own. But people was, making a big deal out of it that's what we asked for. No, we did not. We did not ask for it. Same thing with Juneteenth. I don't see anybody credible saying, yes, We made it. Finally, we are equal in America. All of our words are over. Black people on the same status as white people. Yes. What I did see was, hey, I got a new off day. That's kind of cool. Hey, this day is now being recognized by the country. That's kind of cool. What a cookout gonna be. I even made a post. Hey, here are 10 things you can do. Make a blackity black playlist. Buy black. Drink you some guidance or some Uncle Nearest or something like that. Having fun with it. But as usual, we gotta have the fun police come. Y'all happy about these little crumbs that these people giving y'all, and there's so much more we need to be fighting for. No, nobody's saying that the fight is over, brother, sister. Nobody's saying that by a long shot. We're just saying, hey, I mean, I was off yesterday and didn't have to use any leave. I went, you know what I mean? So that's kind of good. So that's all I got, man.
So I'll jump in. So I kind of brought it up earlier, and I said we didn't ask for Juneteenth. And the reason I say that is because we were talking about the black agenda. Mm-hmm. Because I the only reason I put that there, because I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston. So it's a big thing. Yeah. It's been a big thing in Houston. Yeah. I was up at 6:00 this morning going out to volunteer for a Juneteenth event. So don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is we're talking about the black agenda, and I hate when white people use little victories to kind of hone in their point. Well, you kind of joked with it. Well, racism in with Obama. Well, you won. It's like, man, we didn't ask for this. Like, that is great. It's great. It's being recognized, but there's a black agenda. Don't use this to cut you, because I feel like they're always looking for little to build their like racism is over playbook. It's like, well, you got Obama, and then the Chauvin trial showed you that, and it's always just like, but once again, when you have to build up a case, when we're going tit for tat, like you said, when black person is killed, we got to bring up Tamir Rice, we got to bring up all these people. Like, why do we always have to bring up these people? I'm happy Juneteenth is celebrated, because it's crazy. It's just another thing I think Americans need to know, because in their mind, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, they thought it was all rainbows and butterflies after that. It's just another example to show that even though this stuff was legal or illegal, like, it was still going on. It was like, Texas was like, and there, people are like, well, they didn't know they were free. They knew they were free, but it don't matter if you knew you were free if they ain't releasing you. That's how crazy it is. Like, we's free. Shit, nigga, I ain't going nowhere.
There's still a gun line, boss.
Exactly. It's like, that's how crazy it is. It's like, but even after the slaves were free, the rest of the country, like, all the slaves didn't just walk off plantations the day after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed.
Or the 13th Amendment. A lot of folks don't understand that the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free the slaves.
It was the 13th Amendment. But it's just like, that didn't matter. It showed that I always say it takes government, it takes force to make people implement the right thing when it comes to Black Americans. And going back to your Black agenda, it's going to take force. It's going to take legislation. It's going to take them saying, you can't do this shit anymore. That's what I always take from Juneteenth. Literally, a union, like, y'all know y'all can go free. We got you. Like, that's what's going to have to get the Black agenda to go. It's going to have to take political partnership to make these things happen, because we have shown that the country's not going to do things just because. So when I say we didn't ask for that, like, no, we didn't ask for that. We don't add that. Don't add that to your cap. Don't add that to your count.
Yeah, that's no feather. That's no feather. But you say that, but the problem is, it is a feather for the Republicans, right? Let's break it down. Is. Really, it is a feather for the Republicans. The Republicans, that's why they passed it, because it is the feather that they can say, to their constituents that, see, we do care about Black people. So that's their olive branch. So I agree with, everybody that's saying, don't take this as
they're not saying the same thing I'm saying. Trust me, they're not saying, they're just telling you niggas not to celebrate. I'm telling you, like, hey, realize it is going to be some, not backlash, what you're saying. It's going to be like, well, we gave you Juneteenth. You know, it's.
Yeah. And so that, but the thing about it is the hard stuff that has to happen for the Black agenda wasn't going to get passed with the Republicans anyway. So like that, while we do need to continue to push, we have to celebrate the wins too. Like, I don't understand, like, why people don't understand that, like, you can celebrate your success as you move forward. So don't, like, there's not this extreme of, oh, we didn't get full equality and reparations and, I don't know, white people on reservations, whatever they want. But, like, we didn't get that, so this success doesn't mean anything. That's not how life works. And if you live your life like that, you are unhappy as hell. I just want to tell you that. You are very unhappy because you can't celebrate your small wins and your small successes. Guys, if you're trying to get into $1 million, when I was doing financial planning and I talked to people and we talked about, okay, what's your number for retirement? Like, we had to set small goals and small gates. It's like, if you want $1 million, you don't need to be, you can celebrate making it to 10,000, making it to $250,000, making it to 500,000. Like, celebrate those gates. When you're working, when you talk about an action plan, you have milestones in an action plan or a project plan, or whatever you're doing, your 5-year plan for yourself. Make some gates there because you need milestones to celebrate and you need wins to celebrate. I do think this is a milestone. I do think this is a celebrate and a point of celebration and a win for us because, like you said, now they have to talk about Juneteenth. They have to talk about, here's why you're off and everything like that. Just having the celebration being a federal holiday, it's going to be on the news. Kids are going to ask about it. Like Sophie asked about Juneteenth. She, this was her first year. She really kind of talked about it. Like we did Juneteenth, or we talked about it. We volunteered for in the past, but at the same time, I guess because it's like everybody's talking about it now, I guess she's hearing about it more. She asked me about it. Like, and that's why I corrected you, Ferg, about the Emancipation Proclamation, because me and her literally had a long conversation about that. Because she was like, yeah, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. I'm like, nah, he didn't, baby. So
listen,
I need you. I need you to put your hotel hat on when you go to school.
It's funny you say that.
No, it didn't happen. That
because in my view, when I heard it, I'm like, man, I see these white people flipping it like, what can we get these niggas? Reparations. What's that shit?
That's exactly what it did.
What's that cookout thing they do?
Yeah, shit. I was in
Ferg,
we was in Texas last.
How they look that reparations up?
So, and I can see somebody like a Ted Cruz. We can always give him reparations. Like, I can see it. And so, like I said, I'm all for it because I think it's a beautiful thing. I was talking to my Lamplighters today. The Bruhs and Lamplighters were out there. And we were talking about it. It's big in Houston, man. Real big. It's so many events going on, every year across the city. And I'm happy that's recognized. But I'm like, man, I just know these people going to take this and try to use it today. I hate you. Because I was almost happy to a certain extent, like, when we just kind of had it to ourselves, like, look, we celebrate. It's like, now they got, you got one. But I feel like they need.
And I heard about like the commercialization of it all. Like, Walmart gonna have Juneteenth for $5 and everything like that. But that's on us. That we got to make sure that we go and we support Black businesses and pay the $60 for the t-shirt if that's what it take. But my thing is the people that can pay $60 for a shirt will go do that. But there are people that didn't have $60, so they didn't get a Juneteenth shirt, that they may go to Walmart and buy the $5 shirt or whatever. And maybe, just maybe, we can get some, minority products in there. And suppliers for Walmart and everything like that. So, folks, y'all need to get y'all prices down to Walmart prices and be like, hey, when we talk about Juneteenth stuff, we want minority businesses to do that. Or actually, black businesses. I don't even want to say minority businesses. Black businesses need to be suppliers for that. So maybe that goes on our agenda that, hey, we want to make sure that black businesses are supported and identified during these times.
I will say this. What made me happy about it is identifying certain points in American history that are unspoken. Because you're hearing Juneteenth, and you've heard a lot more about Tulsa and stuff like that. So I kind of put that in that same, like, people, as we were talking about critical race theory, like, people have to start understanding points in black history, or not black, American history that involve, the good and the bad of the relationships. So my bad. Buff, what you got? Did you already answer?
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. It's on you, Razi.
I think that's it. I don't want to go too deep into it. I've said my piece on it, but I just want to make sure everybody understands, man. Like you said, Ferg, it is something that matters, and stop down talking everything or every advancement we get because it's not the pinnacle, because it's not the end game. Like, so, like Buff said, folks work for this, folks work to get it. They got that passed. I mean, whether it's enough or not doesn't matter. That's not how government works. You take what you can get every time, and then you keep working to get the next thing. So, it might be another 3 to 4 years and we get something else. Hopefully we can get something else before the end of the midterms. We'll see.
But you said something, and I think this is where I get some of their frustration is, I don't want to call it an actionable item, but I want to see, I think a lot of times people are asking for something like symbolic versus actionable. Like something that you can sink your teeth at. Now the thing about it is,
my question is, what is the actionable item?
That's what I was about to say.
Because if you need education reform, there was education reform in there in the COVID relief bill. If you need, even if you talk about reparations, but there was cash give outs in there for minorities and things like that. I mean, I don't know what the actionable item or the thing is.
I get that. I think, and once again, we don't have a black agenda, but something like this is when you have something like this, what outside of like, well, all the slaves weren't really free this day. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. Is that the end of Juneteenth? Is it, like you said, now we get our black business going to be highlighted that day? What benefits how can we turn this and benefit the black community if there's a way to turn it? That's a subject for another day, but I think that's some things we talk about, like, how do we take this and make this
they do National Small Business Day or whatever it is, that maybe they do National Black Business Day the week of Juneteenth or something like that. So that's another one that you could kind of
even if they do something like maybe that might fall in line more so with if they do something for the Tulsa massacre, so that might be.
See, I always get weary about just the Tulsa massacre. There was like 19 or 20 different massacres out there, that are documented, and it happened a lot. I mean, so it's Rosewood and there's plenty of different ones out there. So
you're doing what they're doing. I'm telling you, this is the hot button right now. So let them get that. Let them get this one, and then make them research like, oh, there's more than this, because hell, a lot of black people only know about Tulsa. Or just finding out about Tulsa, say they definitely don't know about Rosewood and all this stuff. So I'm saying, if there's ways we can spin this and benefit the black community, I'm with it. So we need to stay on it and figure that out. So my question is I don't know if it's a little lighter, but it's, let me start off by saying, Happy Father's Day, fellas.
Yeah, man. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen.
Appreciate that. Happy Father's Day, bro.
Yes. Yeah. So it's crazy. So a couple of things have happened in the last few weeks. So we were in Atlanta celebrating Razi's birthday. And I was talking to one of our younger frat brothers who happened to be came out Saturday night, and he was talking about some stuff he had going on. And I'm just sitting here looking at this young man in pure admiration. And I've seen him and known him probably for the last 15 years at least. And just to see him being this young, immature college student that was calling me for everything to where he's at today, I'm like, man, that dude's come a long way. I'm so proud of him. And I kind of stopped there. But luckily I was drunk and feeling good. And it was put on my heart to tell him that. It's like, dude, you know what? I'm proud of you, man. I'm really, really proud of you. And I mean, when I say it was so heartfelt, I don't know if he felt it, but I felt it. And it felt so good to tell him that. But then, you know me, I'm a thinker. It made me think. It's like, man, why did it feel so weird to tell him that? You know, we just got to the point we talk about all the time where we can say, I love you. That's kind of like where we draw the line. Like we say, I love you and stuff like that. And we joke and we show, I think, admiration for each other all the time. But it's like how often we say those things outside of those cliche I love yous and stuff like that. And it made me think. There's a couple of questions. What is the thing that somebody could say to you that made you feel the best about yourself? What is that? Is it that outside of the cliche, I love you? It's like, what would just make your heart swell with pride and make you just feel like so good? When was the last time that happened? When was the last time somebody said something like that outside of that? And maybe it's just me, but why don't we do that more?
I can go. Because you were telling me this story when we were at the club about that, and you told me you were proud of me. I was drunk, so I might have not responded. But it wasn't missed when you said that even to me. So I appreciate that. But for me, I think that I'm proud of you is a big deal for me, especially. So I give you know, I tell y'all all the time that I never think that I'm accomplished. And like anything that I've done is not a big deal until I start talking to people. We were, I think we're all in a text message thread with Ani, and she was just like, you know, your accomplishments are a big deal. And I didn't even think anything of it. And I was like, you know, it's no big deal. It's nothing. And I still kind of feel like I have, you know, further heights to reach, right? So I'm still pushing. I still don't think that I'm as accomplished as I think some folks think I am. But maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, you guys know my parents have moved in, and randomly out of the blue, my dad was just sitting in the kitchen eating a bowl of cereal. And I walked down and I was making some coffee and fixing the kids breakfast and stuff like that, getting them ready to go to school. And my dad just looked up and he was like, I'm proud of you. And it hit me. And I was just like, you know how you don't know how to take it. And I was just like, you know, thanks. And trying to kind of downplay it like, oh, it's no big deal. And he was like, no, like, you know, you stepped up, you're taking care of the kids. You know, we thought we were going to have to swoop in and really, really help. But he even said, he was like, I feel like we get in the way more than we help you, which they don't. They do help. They help. It's about equal. They get in the way a good bit too. But you know, he was like, I feel like you're doing it by yourself. And you're so accomplished. You've done so much in your life, and you're still pushing. And he's like, I'm just really proud of you. And that like, it made my heart swell. You know, what did they say on the Grinch? His heart grew 3 sizes that day. But that was a big deal for me, man. And so I think, you know, being able to say I'm proud of you is a big deal to folks, or just good job. Like, you know, what is it? Hancock. When he was like trying to teach Hancock how to say good job, and Hancock didn't know how to say it. He couldn't say good job. Like, saying good job to somebody, or you did a good job, or thank you, or you know, I'm proud of you for what you've done, is a big deal. And especially for kids, saying that it's a big deal. And we do need to say it more, because I know I say it to my kids a lot, but I gush on them anyway. So I say I love you. I say it so much that they you know, like, I know or you say it every day. I tell him I'm proud of him, and especially now, Ollie, especially, he'll be up under me, and sometimes I'll just look down at him and I'm like, dude, I'm so proud of you. And he'll ask me why, and I'm like, because you're a trooper, man. You're getting through this. I know you miss your mom. You're doing awesome in school, learning to read. Because, especially coming off of Sophie that picked up, she's so smart. Like, she picks up on things so fast, and Ollie has to work at it. And I can tell that he sees that he has to work a lot harder at things than she does. And I tell him, I'm like, dude, I'm proud of you for that. Like, you work really, really hard at trying to do things, and you're learning. And don't worry if you don't know something right now. She's 2 years ahead of you in school. She's gonna know things before you. So you have to make sure that that, like, the kids know that it's all right, that they're not as advanced as their sibling, or not moving as fast, especially if they're not the same age. So I went on a tangent with that, man, but I guess it just kind of all came out. But yeah, I agree, Ferg. We need to say I'm proud. We need to say things more.
So I got 3 examples, but they're like really, really, really quick. One is what makes me feel what your question asks is when random people, not necessarily random, but like, social media friends, co-workers, friends in general, when they come and ask me something, and I find out they ask me because they feel like I'm an expert in that area, or they've been watching me from afar and they liked how I move and they want to move in a similar way. And, they ask the question and you answer, you give them information. And then at the end, they're like, man, I really appreciate it because, I saw you do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, and like Razi said, it's like you look back on it like, damn, that wasn't even, I didn't think that was a big deal. But it's really true when they say you never know who's watching you. And that has happened like time and time again for me. So I always appreciate that because, people have to humble themselves to come ask you things sometimes. So for them to like choose me, because, I always tell you guys, I don't feel like I'm that smart. That's why I'm always trying to read and learn stuff because I want to be smart. And then for people to like come to me, that makes me feel good. My wife, when Tabitha has said just random, like we could be sitting watching TV and she'll just out the blue say, you really take care of us. You really take care of us. I never have to worry about anything. You always put our interests first. I feel safe with you. Like she just be pouring it on and she don't even ask for nothing at the end. Like she really be meaning that at the time. But, that means a lot to me. And, I said this on the previous episode back in October. She was then the assistant chief. She's now the acting chief on the department. But she put together this forum to address the concerns of some of the officers on the department, during the George Floyd protest, because Black officers was like, we really felt like we didn't have a home because we kind of empathize with what some of the protesters were saying, but, we still have a job to do. And, we feel like nobody really addressed that. And she put together this town hall forum with chiefs from different police departments across the country. And we were able to ask whatever we want to without any type of consequence. And I remember I asked my question, and I told you guys the question I asked. Razi, you mentioned all the different massacres there's been. One of the massacres I mentioned was the Elaine massacre in Elaine, Arkansas. And, my voice was cracking. You know how when you passionate about something, you angry at the same time and your emotions are getting there, your voice started cracking. Because like the more and more I was giving them examples, the more angry I was getting on, my overall question was, when have Black people been able to ever trust the police? Because they have historically not earned that trust. They've, abused us historically from the invention of police to the present. And I gave them all these examples of how. And that panel went to her and told her how great that question was. And I'm going to talk about this a little more in my closing arguments, but she chose me to participate in something else that's going to be coming out later this year. And so it was just kind of cool that she remembered that and what they said and considered me someone that is well-spoken, which is kind of funny when you think about how I talk around y'all when it's just us, like how we was at the house in Atlanta. But she considered me well-spoken and wanted me to participate in this thing. So those are 3 examples that come to mind. Last thing, Ferg, you asked why we don't do it more. In your question, you said, hey, you know, we just got around to telling each other I love you. And yeah, we do that. But what I've noticed with guys is even when we do tell another guy I love you, we still have to make it kind of cool, kind of hard. It's never just I love you. It's like, hey, dog, I love you, man. I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to pound your chest a little bit with it. Or, hey, man, you know I love you. Like, we got to find a way to kind of remix it a little bit to still keep that masculinity in telling another man I love you. So I just think it's a comfort level, man. Overall, I just think we're still getting more and more comfortable with giving other people their accolades and telling them how we feel about them.
Man, I really appreciate you guys answering that question, man. It's been on my heart since then. But I think for me, it's that I think it's 2 of them. One, I think a little more than the other is the proud thing. I think it really resonates because I don't do things for the accolades. Like I don't similar to you, Razi, like I don't know how to accept, you know, praise or anything like that. But it does something to me. Even when I was thinking after I said it to you and him, and I think I talked to all you guys, I probably was super emotional that weekend. It was just, it made me think like, who are the people who are proud of you? Who are the people that really would say, you know what? Not just like in a cliche, like, yo, yeah, man, you know, Ferg came along, I'm proud of him, but like knowing, like really like, you know what, man, I'm proud of you, dude. Like sincerely, not just like, oh, you know, like we talk about butt flexing and stuff like that. But dude, I've seen you come from, you know, 6th grade and all that stuff to see you, man, like hella proud of you, dude. Like it's just really, really mean that. And not in a cliche way. It's just like people that really know, and there's a special place in their heart when they say, I'm proud of you, not just like, man, I'm proud of my brother. Like he did good. And then I think the second one is respect. Kind of what you were saying, you know, when people come to you for advice or come to you, I get that all the time. Not all the time, but I get it, you know, where I think I noticed it. And maybe people don't say it, but they'll say it indirectly. You know, when I'm with my mentees and their parents, and the fact that they're, you know, they're like, there's a certain level of respect for you that I have that I don't have for many people to allow you to be in my son's life the way you are. If I have an issue with them, if I have something going on, I've had a mother call me talking about her son's had a rough year, first year in college. Can I talk to him? There's a certain level of respect that comes with that. Like I've only known your son a few years, but you chose me to be the person to talk to him. But when people just say it, you know, even a few months ago when I was dealing with Greg's death, and the GM of the company called me, and maybe it was just fluff, and he's just like, you know what, Tavares, everybody loves you. And they respect you, man. You're a team. Like, and he just kind of go into like, you know, there's something about you that people respect. I don't know if it was just like the respect because of position, or if it's just like that general, like you just carry yourself a certain way, but it was just a certain level of respect. So I try to be a respectful person and carry myself in a respectful manner, but those two, but like that proud thing, man, Z does a really good job of it. Telling me, you know, out the blue, like, you know, you're doing a great job, babe. I'm just so proud of you. And I kind of wave it off because I don't want to get into that emotional state. You know, like part of me thinks like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know, kind of like, you know, like kind of the way you accept it, right? Like, yeah, thanks, I guess, you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to dwell on it, but I'm going to, moving forward, take the time to internalize it and really accept it. And try to accept it in the same way they gave it. You know, when I tell you I'm proud of you, both of you guys, it came from a real place in my heart. You can take it how you want, but maybe you don't take it the same way with the same energy I gave it. You know, sometimes we just like, yeah, because we don't know how to accept it. So, and I think the reason we don't say it, I think I was really struggling with this. Like, why don't we say it more? Kind of what you were saying, Byron. We just started saying "I love you," but it's almost like the Marvel universe where "I love you" is like "I am Groot." You know, like, man, I love you, dog. I love you means everything to men. I'm proud of you. I respect you. You my dog, man. I'm here for you. I am Groot. That's how I love you comes across in our world. You know, I can tell you, man, you can be going through like, man, you know, I love you, dude. Right? That means if you need anything, I got you, man. Like you can give me the best gift in the world, man. I love you, dog. You know, man, I could be proud of you on your wedding day, man. I love you, dog. Like I love you is everything to us. So I'm challenging us on here and challenging our listeners to say more than I just love you. Because for a lot of us, I love you is still new. It's still a struggle. But try to tell the people that you care about, the people in your life, how you really feel about them. And in that moment, because I think when you do it in the moment, it's so much better. Because what made me think about being proud of you, I want to tell you right then and there. And because you never know. You never know what it took you to get there, and you never know if anybody else will tell you that. Because 20 people might tell you I love you today, but how many people told you I'm proud of you? So I'm going to get off my emotional soapbox. Happy Father's Day, fellas. I'm proud of you as husbands, fathers, businessmen, finance. Like, dude, I've seen you guys grow. The reason I wanted to get you guys on this podcast with me was because of the respect I have for you guys and how proud of you guys and what you've accomplished since I've known you. So that's it. You know, so, but I appreciate you guys. Appreciate our listeners. It's been a fun show as usual. 3 Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.